Yeah, sorry about that, guys. This, video is about said, you know, basically about, like, America's fucking poverty issue. Like, why can't we just have a simple fucking solution? Tax the rich even more, so that way I'll... this thing keeps acting up for some reason. But just to let people clearly know, I myself really don't like how things have been going. I mean, look at all the money that's been spent, needlessly spent on stupid shit, dude. I mean, look at all that we do as a nation. I mean, come on. Can't we just have one simple solution to our... Like, duh. We got like tax problems going out the yin yang, and I don't think it's getting any better for Americans who are being pushed out of work overseas and pushing our jobs into other countries. Like, what the fuck is that shit about? I mean, look at all the shit that's been going on. Like, hello, we don't need to be taxing the poor. We got like a lot of issues to discuss about, like, oh, how are we gonna take our, American people seriously when, shit's getting really worse, when, the people are killing police officers because their jobs are stolen from the country that they were born in by other countries. Because it's evident that the, U.S. police departments don't want to get on the phone with politicians to help, the whole thing about, like, getting the, you know entirety of the entire police department involved in helping, you know helping out with, like, removing tax problems from small businesses. Non-essential corporations are killing the very foundations of our, kids' life. And with that being said, we shouldn't have, you know, like a lot of issues with, going about the whole thing with how the police don't want to like talk to the Senate, talk to the mayors, talk to the governors, talk to the state and local congressmen about keeping and nationwide, like going nationwide with their phone calls and meetings to our country's governors and congressmen to remove the tax hikes for small businesses and families that are struggling. I mean, look at all the bullshit that's been going on. We got game developer companies getting a stake in the tax cuts in order to be able to fund their next new fucking projects. Like, what the fuck is that shit? And we got, schools refusing to quit kicking kids out of school and shit. Like, I don't want anything to do with having, I mean, we don't need, like, a distinct, we don't need to have problems with our nation's, debt crisis going on for long periods of time. I mean, look at all the bullshit that's been going on. All the constant drivel. All the constant, oh, will I or won't I type of situations. I mean, I see it as a big old threat to the American way of life. For Americans, it's like you can't even win when you don't know what you're fighting against.
Was ever in Gangster and the Gimp.
Like, you can't even win a war that you don't even know that you're fighting. I mean, look at all the bullshit that's been propagated over the years. I mean, look at everything that's been going wrong. I mean, with the way the whole system is set up, it's set up for people to fail. Fail miserably. But, oh, if somebody fucking robs a bank, oh, they're a fucking piece of shit. They're fucking terrible. Bullshit if they are terrible people. John Dillinger didn't deserve to get murdered the way he did back in the day. It was the lack of babysitting service back when John Dillinger was a kid. lack of babysitting services back in those days. You know, lack of babysitting services back in those days. I mean, the lack of babysitting services and the whole parenting shit was garbage back then. Oh, Christian moral values, my fucking ass. You got motherfuckers back in the day fucking acting like it was like ancient Greco-Roman high-end debauchery type of shit. Oh, because America had money. People could afford to go and fucking, you know, freeload off of the government and freeload off of fucking, at the time, big businesses and big corporations at the time. Like, oh, why shouldn't we allow small businesses these days get a tax write-off in their fucking tax returns? I see that as a fucking total fucking cop-out. And how about police officers watch their fucking mouths when they're talking to the fucking middle class and the fucking poor people? And how about the cops just stop fucking running their fucking mouths about shit the police know nothing about, because they're not the ones who are going through that shit. They're not the ones who are going through that shit. It's everybody else. So cops don't get the right to run their fucking mouth off about shit they know nothing about. They're a part of the damn tax problem. Oh, but the police department gets a fucking tax write-off while everybody else gets dicked in the ass by the fucking big giant government. While the police take tax cuts and fucking government sanctioned bribery. I mean, that shit's not fucking okay, dude. Who the fuck wants to employ a fucking system like that? Not a motherfucking person wants to employ such shit like that. Like, goddamn, like, who the fuck do you think you are as a man of the law to overlook when somebody loses their house, home, utilities, their health care benefits, their fucking dental care benefits, their fucking eye doctor care benefits, while you reap the rewards of being a disgusting cop? And I hope every single cop that is watching this fucking video rots in the lowest pits of Tartarus for all the cocksucker shit they've been pushing and pulling for generations now. And I hope they're rotting. I hope those badge-wearing cocksuckers rot in the very basements of the bowels of the pits of Tartarus with J. Edgar Hoover, while looking on from the heavens above, while the great man who was punishing the system for being so corrupt himself, John Dillinger, and all those other so-called gangsters like Bonnie and Clyde, were punishing the system for being so corrupt. It ain't their fault. And I hope every cop that fucking murdered, I hope every motherfucker behind the badge that murdered Bonnie and Clyde goes and fucking rots in the lowest pits in the basements of the pits of Tartarus and all of the underworld for what they've done. They've doomed American way of life. Like, oh, why don't us evil demons behind the badge murder unemployed people who go from state to state, county to county, city to city, robbing banks as a way to keep themselves from going broke and homeless. I hope all them motherfuckers rot in Tartarus. Hope all them motherfuckers that murdered John Dillinger, who had a hand in his murder, rot in the lowest pits of Tartarus for all the evil things they've done to him. John Dillinger said himself, his father didn't know any better about how to raise a son, because he was always bringing his... And that was a fucking sign. His father brought him along with him to a bunch of places, because at the time, you couldn't afford a fucking babysitter back then. And you couldn't afford a fucking, you know, a better school for your fucking kid. Like, who are you to fucking cause the normal class people and the poor class people problems that you're supposed to fix? Like, who are you to decide what amount of money a family, a community is supposed to fucking have? Like, you're trying to rig the game where the big fancy rich oil companies get a lot of, you know, basically a lot of fucking tax write-offs, while everybody else gets dicked in the ass. Fix this shit, you government slimy evil demon motherfuckers. I don't see angels inside the very vessels of police officers of every era, of every time period. I see a bunch of demons that need to get punished. Punished. And I hope that whoever is the fucking child or grandchild or great grandchild of J. Edgar Hoover, I hope you know that your scum fuck of a grandfather murdered a man who had no other choice, no other way to make money. And I hope you rot in the lowest pits of Tartarus for this hateful, murderous act of genocide. And also being a part of the subsequent murder of Bonnie and Clyde. All those. And I hope those who have been a part of said Pretty Boy Floyd's own fucking murder gets what's coming to their cocksucking great grand offspring. And those who murdered Jaime Weisp and Estrucci, all those who are of the mafia golden age, and also Lucky Luciano, those who turned to the life of crime, who had no other way of making money because the fucking jobs were getting outsourced to fucking Russia and whatever fucking country at the time that the jobs were being outsourced to. Like Germany, Russia, Britain, France. The fucking countries in the World War II era. And Olympus forbids that if a fucking child gets into the fucking police department and fucking turns shit around where their bloodline is not to blame for all the crimes the police have been a part of. I don't see any redeemable qualities in police officers. I don't see any redeeming qualities in them. The day when you motherfuckers stop murdering innocent people who do heinous things out of desperation to stay off of the alleyways and stay off of park benches and keep themselves from being fucking homeless. Or, better yet, get our fucking factories and warehouses and our fucking jobs back here. And no fucking unrighteous killings of disenfranchised, impoverished people. People have a right to life. And I know y'all may say, oh, it was about justice. Where the fuck was what was the justice in all of, you know, the killings of Pretty Boy Floyd, Machine Gun Kelly, Jaime Weisp Estrucci, Bugs Moran, Al Capone, Bonnie and Clyde, John Dillinger, and so forth. And let's not forget back in the 1800s with Billy the Kid, who was marginalized and was possibly fucking killed. Like, who are you to decide who lives and who dies as a man behind the badge? Who are you? You are not Zeus. You do not get to play with somebody else's fucking right to live. People have a right to defend themselves against the police. When the police department gets out of line, people have a right to defend themselves against said corrupt police officers. People have a right to defend them. And I don't want to hear, oh, so what if there was like a few bad apples? It doesn't make the rest of us honest police, honest to heavens police officers a bunch of bad guys. Fuck you. All you did back in the 1900s, early 1900s, was let that cocksucker J. Edgar Hoover run his fucking mouth off at the disenfranchised class of people who dabbled into fucking crime to pay for a lot of shit that they wanted and live a lavish lifestyle. And if you are the offspring of J. Edgar Hoover, how does it feel to be related to the biggest evil murderer in history? How does it feel to be related to the most evil demon in the government? How does it feel to deserve to be blamed for what your great-grandfather did to somebody that somebody else loved? Your cocksucker grandfather took his life. I hope Jared Guru is probably one of those people that put my fucking generation. You hate mongering, hate speech spewing, classist bigots. I'm sick and tired of you cops running your mouth about who's a criminal and who's not. Look in the fucking mirror and realize you do not got the divine license to take a life from somebody who is disenfranchised and who knew no such other way to make money for themselves to stay away from being homeless, living in their fucking cars. You class-phobic motherfuckers. That's what you cops are. It's class-phobic. You class-phobe motherfuckers. You fucking classist fucking bigots. And behind the fucking badge deserve not a reward, but a punishment after you fucking get your comeuppance and get what you deserve and get what's coming to you. And to the family of John Dillinger, I offer my condolences. And to the family of Bonnie and Clyde, to the families, and to the family of Machine Gun Kelly, and to the family of Pretty Boy Floyd, I offer my condolences. And to you cops, I hope every one of you rots in the fucking pits of Tartarus, getting punished in the underworld by Hades. By Hades himself, punishing you and your bloodline for what your great-grandparents did back in the 1900s. No more killing without asking Zeus for permission to take the life of a gangster. You gotta ask Zeus for permission. And if he did not give you permission, you do not do it. Plain and fucking simple. Yeah, you can ask the question that is not related to this. So what's the question?
Hey, can't these people stay out of my way?
I mean, I'm just so heated up right now against the government. I'm very passionate about holding the entirety of the police and the law system accountable.
Real pretty.
I was bored. I was bored and had nothing better to do. Since how I don't have, like a real job. This is the only way to like garnish some like trying to like garnish some ad revenue. That's why. But on to the topic. I want all cops to be held accountable for what their police affiliated relatives of the past did. You do not have the consent from Zeus to take the life of some disenfranchised poor person who don't have no other way of making money
Your aim sucks.
and chose a life of crime in order to keep themselves from being homeless. I am sick and tired, sick to my fucking stomach of seeing people being thrown out of their homes over some misdue payments. Money's fucking tight because why? We have a lot of companies over there overseas in China, overseas east of the hemisphere of our fucking world. Why on Gaia's body would you, a cop, think it's okay to fuck around and not fucking apologize? If there's any relatives of the subsequent murderers of those people that I've just listed off, I want you to go to the families, the relatives, the descendants of those people, your police affiliated ancestors killed, and apologize to them for what your ancestors did to theirs. That of itself is what pisses me off about the police getting away with killing people, that they don't got the divine consent from Zeus himself, a god of all gods, to kill people indiscriminately. I hope all you cops that are descendant or a descendant of the cops of the past 50 or 60 or 70 years. I hope all y'all suffer for the sins of your ancestors from 70 years ago has done to the ancestors 70 years ago of the ones who were disenfranchised poor people who got together with other poor people to rob banks for just to put food on the table. John Dillinger had no way of making any legal money because there was not enough jobs. And the military wasn't even an option for a man like him. I am dead serious. All of you police officers, I hope all you who end up dead from getting gunned down are rotting in the very bowels of the basements of the pits of Tartarus and all of the underworld, getting punished by the demons of Tartarus and by the hands of Hades himself, and getting your souls chewed on by Cerberus for your sins. And to the cops who killed George Floyd, I hope you get your comeuppance. And the cops who killed that white guy by restraining him to the point where he could not breathe and he ended up dying, I hope you get your comeuppance too. Where you're meeting all those cops in the very bowels of the basements of the pits of Tartarus and all of the underworld, getting punished by demons, getting punished by Hades, getting your souls chewed on by the very three-headed demon dog of the underworld himself, Cerberus, for your sins and your crimes.
You almost hit me, asshole.
And for resisting civil punishment. And I hope you learn when you reincarnate that you won't fuck up again and overstep your bounds in your next life. So that way you'll learn a harsh, brutal, aggressive lesson in the underworld. So that way in your next life you will be held responsible for your actions. And that goes the same for all politicians too, that don't want to take responsibility for your actions. Because Cerberus will have a toy box full of new chew toys in the underworld that is scorched in the flames of Tartarus. And only then, when you guys reincarnate, y'all will learn a harsh lesson. Don't fuck up during your life and make an enemy out of yourself and make generations down the road hate you so much that they wish divine punishment on your evil ass. I sit in judgment of the souls of those who got involved in policing. I hope every one of you who is the fucking police suffer in the underworld, being engulfed in the flames of and in the fires of Tartarus, chewed on by Cerberus, beaten on by Hades himself. So that way, in being tossed in the lake of forgetfulness, and then wiping the slate clean and sending you back up here, born in a new body, so that way you would have learned your lesson. Don't cause the generation such as mine to hate you for what you've done and for what your ancestors have done. Only Zeus gets to decide who lives and who dies. Not you policemen. And not the prison system. May Zeus strike down all who takes divine law into their own hands behind the badge. May my father Zeus strike you down, and may I sit in judgment of you, or rather you're worthy to enter Olympus and all of the heavens. I will see to it that I watch from a cauldron up in the heavens of what's going on in the underworld to you, and may I watch in awe and wonder and relish the very idea of police officers being punished in the underworld, being sent to the underworld, being sent to the pit, the very bowels of the basements of the pits of Tartarus in all of the underworld by said king of the gods, Zeus himself. May you be banished to the pits of Tartarus for taking the life of innocent people and sentencing innocent people to death without the consent and the blood oath permission of Zeus himself. And may you never, ever forget your time in the underworld. And may you be punished for what you have done, for what atrocities you've committed. Only Zeus decides who lives and who dies. Not a mere mortal behind a badge. Even the court judges are not immune to this. The day when the corrupt court judge has finally passed away, he will not go through the pearly gates of Olympus and all of the heavens. He or she will go through the fiery gates of Tartarus and all of the underworld. for sentencing innocent people to an unfair punishment and letting corrupt, cruel, and evil people go free. And to stop taxing the middle class and the poor class. That's the biggest sin of them all as well. May the gods strike you down with fury and the wrath and the vengeance of the gods of Olympus. Zeus has struck down many sinners for stepping up against him. And they're in Tartarus. Anyways, that's the end of this video.